Why do you think most people don't ever reach financial freedom in their lives? Do you think it's a psychology thing, a mindset thing? Obviously, let's take, the very practical elements out of the equation. So, severe hardship, poverty, all of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But people that are in that sort of middle layer that are comfortable, why do they never, some of those people never really reach a point of financial freedom?
I think humans defer to the paths they've seen before them. I think so often we follow in our father's or our mother's footsteps. And that's why I think the internet's really powerful, is you have an opportunity to now choose the family footsteps you want to follow into. So one, I used to think it was just a knowledge gap, but then I went to this event and I was talking to my friend about it, and she said that the facilitators did something really cool. It was a group of women, imagine like 40 women in a room, right? And they're there to talk about finances. And in this room, they said, okay, everybody close your eyes. And I want you to picture money. Picture money right now. And then I want you to turn your body into the shape you feel when you hear the word money, right? And so 30 women, all eyes closed, they take whatever shape. And she goes, now open your eyes and look around. And, my friend was explaining to me how most people in the room were like fetal position. They were like they were like really close, somewhere on the ground, some were covering their eyes. So in a room of 30 relatively successful women, their reaction was like attack, shame, guilt for money. And she was like, and she was standing there with her arms open wide, like, give me the money. And when I think about my relationship with money, it's the same thing. I'm like, if I think about money, I'm like, yeah, it's over here. Like my hands are up, like I am here for it. But most people have this weird emotional attachment to money. And so I used to think that people on the internet, I like Tony Robbins, but like Tony Robbins or whatever, who do a lot of the I'm stuff, I kind of didn't get it. I'm like, just give me the tactics, skip the other thing. And then I realized that most people have really bad stories that they tell themselves about money. And you could tell, it'd be interesting, your next speech, you could try it. I tried it at one of mine, same thing. Men and women holding each other like they're being beaten when somebody talks about money. The average human feels that way. And so I think it all comes down to what we believe, which is hard for somebody in finance like me to say, Typically I would think, well, if you knew what to do, you could just do it. But that's not the case. It's you have to believe that you can do it. And the only way I can figure out to get more people to believe that they can do it is to show more people who are super normal or in fact below average doing the damn thing. But if I had the answer to that, that'd be the $1 million question. I read a stat in the US that only 1 in 10 people dies wealthy in the US, that most people die broke and young. And I thought that was fascinating because we're at economic high times, like lower poverty levels than ever before. But still, most people die at least without extra cash to pass on to the next generation. Why do you think people don't reach financial freedom, or most people die without a lot of cash?
I think, obviously, it's a very complex topic, but I think I really resonate with the emotional, psychological side of things that you described. It's the same reason why most people don't go to the gym or eat healthy. Yeah. Money is inherently emotional. When I had no money, I was reckless with money.
Right.
All the gambling shops are in the areas where people don't have money. There's something deeply psychological about money. So when I was working in those call centers, if I got paid £1,000 at the end of the month, I would the same day go and buy a TV or an Xbox, like a PlayStation, for about £600-700. I would not pay my rent to go and buy that PlayStation. And sometimes I'd buy the PlayStation without having a TV. There was just something psychologically attached to the dopamine rush or the sense of self-worth that I got from owning the shiny thing. When I got money, my relationship with money became amazing.
Yeah.
I stopped buying designer things. I stopped wasting it. I didn't feel a need to show off or buy, Rolexes or whatever. So I was able to preserve wealth more. There's a really interesting relationship with money on both ends of the spectrum. When you have less of it, it's harder. It's often because of certain psychological things in certain people. I was one of them. It's harder to hold on to. And when you have more of it, it feels easier to hoard. And people, and more broadly on the subject of why people don't reach financial freedom. I think the modern world tells us that we can get rich quick.
Yeah.
And when you think about how people build wealth, we think about the Warren Buffetts of the world. It's so boring and slow. And no, who's going to buy that book?
Yeah.
You know, be a billionaire at 87. Fuck what? I'm not going to be able to, dance in the nightclub at 87. So why do I want $1 billion then?
Yeah.
That's why the NFT thing and the crypto scam, this whatever, is also appealing to people.
Yeah.
Because it's quick.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you know I actually was reading somewhere a story about in South Africa, in the slums, they have the highest concentration of the largest televisions per square foot of the houses. So that if you've been there, and I've actually never been, so I can't validate, but you will see very small little rooms with huge televisions. And I thought that was interesting, but it actually makes sense because maybe it comes down to a belief that people don't think they're ever going to get out. And so they think the only chance of getting out is going into whatever the short-term pleasure is. It's like if you never think you're going to escape your everyday reality, which is actually kind of miserable, then you're going to buy the PlayStation because why wouldn't you? Why would you save and try to get out when you've never seen anybody else get out?